Hi, everyone. I'm Tara. Welcome back to The Psychology of Happiness, a series on living a happier life where we explore why we think, feel, and behave the way we do. Today, I want to talk about something I think many of us have experienced at one point or another, but we may not have had the words for it. Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you try, nothing changes? Maybe you've worked toward a goal and hit setback after setback. Maybe you've been in unhealthy relationships. Maybe you've applied for job after job without hearing back. Or maybe you've tried to change your life so many times that part of you has started to wonder, what's the point? If you've ever felt that way, you're not alone. Psychologists call this learned helplessness. It's the idea that when people experience repeated disappointments, failures, or difficult situations, they can begin to believe that they have no control over what happens next. And once that belief takes hold, something interesting happens. We just don't just expect things to go wrong, we stop trying to change them. We stop taking chances. We stop believing that our choices matter. Not because we're lazy, not because we're weak, but because our brains are trying to protect us from more pain. Think about it. If you've touched a hot stove enough times, eventually you'll stop reaching for it. Your brain does something similar with emotional pain. It starts to say, why bother? Nothing ever works out for me. People like me just don't have happy endings. And the scariest part is, those thoughts can start to feel like facts. But here's what I've learned: just because you've been powerless in the past doesn't mean you're powerless now. Learned helplessness isn't something you're born with, it's something your brain learns, which means it can also be unlearned. And unlearning it doesn't happen all at once. It doesn't happen because you suddenly wake up and are feeling motivated. It happens in tiny moments. Moments where you send the application even though you're afraid of the rejection. Moments where you set the boundary even though it feels uncomfortable. Moments where you choose to believe that your future doesn't have to look like your past. Because every small action sends a message to your brain: I do have choices. I do have power. Things can change. And slowly, your brain starts collecting evidence for a new story. Not a story that says life is easy, because it's not, but a story that says, I'm capable of handling difficult situations. For years, I believed that my life would always look the way it did in my 20s and 30s. I believed that the patterns I had lived through were simply who I was. And honestly, after enough disappointment, that belief made sense. But the moment I started taking small steps, setting boundaries, changing my environment, learning new skills, I began proving to myself that change was possible. Not overnight, not perfectly, but bit by bit. So today, here's something I would love for you to try. Think of one small area in your life where you've started to feel powerless, and then ask yourself, what's one small action I could take today that would remind me that I still have choices? Because helplessness grows when we believe we're trapped, but hope grows when we remember that even the smallest actions matter. And every time you choose to act, even when it's hard, you're retraining your brain little by little, day by day. I'm Tara, and this has been part 9 of The Psychology of Happiness. Next time, we're going to explore cognitive dissonance, why our brains are become uncomfortable when our actions don't align with our beliefs, and how that discomfort can either keep us stuck or inspire us to change. Until then, keep looking for the little moments that make life beautiful. And remember, understanding your mind is the first step. Retraining it is where transformation begins, because that's how we create a happier life. I'll see you in part 10. Have a great night.